Hi everybody, it's Brandy here from your employee development team, and I'm here with Chris Matugas. He's an investment advisor with our company, and today we're going to be chatting about COVID-19 and the impacts that it has had on investments and the stock market. So Chris, thank you so much for doing this chat today. Really appreciate you being here.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. And I welcome the opportunity to have that conversation, discussion with our members, with our staff, my colleagues, anyone who's looking and is interested in the investment world.
I just wanted to kick it off with sort of the main panic that people have felt. So when COVID-19 started and we started seeing investments going down, people were losing money on their investments. Of course, everybody's reaction is to worry. And they're like, well, should I withdraw my investments or what should I do from there? But what's your advice from your standpoint when people start to have that panic?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing it up. You're 100% correct. Being client-facing and member-facing, absolutely, and dealing with the wealth book and our members and the retirement, we had a lot of calls. I personally, the week before March 23rd, handled 31 panic phone calls from our investors. And my advice, same now as it was then, never too high, never too low. We always got to look down the middle and have that level head. Take the emotions out of the investing, which is difficult sometimes, which is why they hire someone like me, and look at it objectively. So don't panic, absolutely stay the course, figure out what your long-term plan was, and if things haven't actually changed in your long-term plan, your investments shouldn't either. Do you mind if I show a quick picture of what?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because I think it's important. We got to know exactly what people are feeling. So I brought up on the screen a picture of the Toronto Stock Exchange. Okay, so here is the market high. This was February. This cliff is what happened from February to March. So from our market, yeah, it's probably not one of, it is the steepest decline I've ever seen at that speed. So at the market high, we're at around 17,000 to the market low, just below 12,000, 11,000 and change. That's what people were feeling. So one thing that I've learned, money is emotion to most people. It's, being able to buy security, being able to not eat cat food and have shelter. It's all of these things. So when they see the numbers and the money in their statements or accounts go down so significantly in such a short period of time, of course there's going to be panic. And then the point of, I guess, having a conversation with a professional is to be able to take an objective step back and say, this isn't going to last forever. Now, I took 31 panic phone calls, and pretty much most of the people just stayed the course, and thankfully they did, because as you can see, we went from just under 12,000 to last week, we're back up to around 16,000. Things have come back significantly. I had no idea it's going to come back in 3 months, but I do know that over the long term, the markets tend to work efficiently, and they help most people achieve their financial goals.
So for people who aren't super invested and maybe don't have maybe not any investments, would now be a good time to get into the market?
Absolutely. I think any time's a good time to get invested, but what and how much, I think is the way to go. And Really what it comes down to, I got something else I want to show you, but I think the more important question is, what do you need the money for? Okay, so there are different tools for different goals, I think. The vast majority of our business here at Connect First is either lending or some guaranteed kind of term deposits. And that's great for some of those short-term goals, right? So if you have a longer-term goal like retirement, well, these past 6 months where the markets are up, 30% or down 30%, those are short-term blips in a 25-year time frame. It's really minuscule. It's like a second in the day versus the whole. Whereas my short-term goal, for example, for myself, so if you can see on the sheet, this is just a real fast financial plan that I actually work through with members that kind of get them to picture what their retirement would look like and what goals to work towards. Then we can actually do a real retirement plan. You can see at the top, we'll just go in 5-year increments. What's really on the horizon for us? Well, for my wife and I, we want to retire in about 25 years. Most people want to retire around 65, right? Okay, so this short-term blip, if I'm adding money today, doesn't matter. Might as well put some into the market. If it's for something short-term, like a motorcycle, for example, for myself, well, maybe we're not taking on that much risk. Even midterm, maybe my wife's big trip, she wants to go visit the pyramids and see the Sphinx. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we don't need to buy, a 5-year GIC, but we don't need to buy, Amazon stock either. Something in the middle there, that medium risk, medium return kind of thing. Same thing with my son's education. I don't need to bet the farm on anything crazy for him, but something so that I know that we'll be able to fund those needs at that time in the appropriate amounts. That's what I'm going to be looking at. What is the need? And then I will be able to match up the investment appropriately. The thing that I said before about never too high, never too low, just kind of look at it objectively down the middle, that applies in both ways. When things are falling through the floor and when things are going through the roof, I don't think riding a wave just for the sake of riding a wave is good advice to anybody. What's the plan? Let's take a look at where we should appropriately invest the capital.
Makes sense. Totally.
The panic calls when they're coming in, we were kind of giving this analogy. It's kind of like driving on a highway. Okay, so imagine you're in Calgary right now and you're driving off to Banff into the mountains to go on a hike or something, and it's nighttime, but the sky's clear, moon's full out, roads are dry, everything's great. That's kind of what was happening in the economy before this happened. All of a sudden, a deer jumped on the road a couple of kilometers down the road. What do? You slam on the brakes. Okay. So that's kind of what happened as well. This lockdown is self-imposed, right? The economy was humming. The U.S. economy was humming. It was a 3% unemployment. Everything was firing on all cylinders. And then COVID came on the scene, or the deer jumped onto the road, and we slammed on the brakes. We shut down the economy. It was self-imposed. Unlike the 2008, that was an internal banking problem. You had to pull the car over to the side of the road and fix, the brakes. That's what happened. The banks were lending out money to anybody. In this instance, and we've kind of seen it already, where as soon as we see the light at the end of the tunnel, as soon as that deer starts creeping off of the road, right? COVID cases start dwindling. We ease off the brakes, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 in Alberta, for example, and then we slowly start pressing the accelerator. And that's what kind of happened here. Right at the bottom, if you recall, back in March, we were hearing the worst of Italy, the worst of Spain. Everything was the worst. And then right at the end of March and beginning of April, China is opening up, Wuhan's opening up. Oh, looks like Italy has peaked out, Spain has peaked out, and whoosh, we had this upturn. So I think that's still going to be the case. There's going to be some hiccups. Maybe we ruined the shocks by slamming the brakes too hard. But as long as we get this virus under control, this COVID under control, if we get a vaccine, we could potentially see some pretty good markets from here on out, probably 2021.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time, Brandy. This has been great.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I think that, like I said, it's just a good reminder to all of us, just good advice across the board. COVID-19 doesn't have to change anything. Dips in the market don't necessarily have to change your plans or make you worry. So, I really appreciate you being here and having a chat with us.